Human trafficking may be something you've heard about or seen in the movies, but local law enforcement officials say it is happening right under our noses and behind your child's cell phone.
Western Mass News reporter Paris Dunford is getting answers on how these crimes are investigated in the second part of this human trafficking series.
Ripping away at a child's innocence, exploiting them for their own gain. Authorities say human traffickers are targeting the most vulnerable people, including our children.
Human trafficking as a whole, generally, is more commonplace than people probably realize. And it does exist here in Western Massachusetts.
Tyrena Lester is the victim services supervisor at the Bay State Health Family Advocacy Center. Every report of child exploitation or trafficking comes through their center.
On average, we see about 100 to 120 cases a year, and I will say that that number is underreported.
According to the Human Trafficking Institute, 60% of all human trafficking cases involve minors. The same report says the internet is used 85% of the time in these crimes. Lester says sex trafficking can be as simple as someone luring a child online to send photos of themselves, all while they are giving them gifts.
But really, for our children, it's very simple as an exchange of pictures. You know, our kids have spent a lot of time online recently.
Lester says some apps are more dangerous than others when it comes to traffickers targeting victims. She says dating apps like TikTok and Snapchat and many other, can all be used to communicate with children. She also warns against gaming or streaming chat room apps.
There's adults on that platform, and you can exchange videos, and we know that kids have had contact with adults, inappropriate contact with adults through Discord.
She says there are some warning signs to look out for, like if your child starts owning expensive items you didn't buy for them, they start spending a concerning amount of time on their computers or phones, or if they are distancing themselves from their family, friends, and their favorite activities. Hamden District Attorney Anthony Gallooni agrees these are all red flags that parents should address.
Be connected with your child. Make sure that you know how your child is using the internet.
He also explains how sex trafficking can take other, more serious forms, specifically with vulnerable teenagers. Traffickers lure them in and then force them to have sex in exchange for other things.
We have had many cases with teenage-aged young people who were ensnared in some sort of trafficking situation. Very often they themselves are dealing with mental health issues, substance use issues, as well as situations where they're disenfranchised from family.
He explains that more often than not, these children have run away from their homes, DCF or foster care, and get picked up by traffickers.
Then it turns into a situation where that person begins to exploit that person with physical violence, with emotional violence.
Gallooni's office is part of a task force, the Western Massachusetts Human Trafficking Working Group. He says they are dedicated to finding criminals that are exploiting those most vulnerable.
No person, no woman wakes up and says, I want to prostitute myself today. I want to sell my body.
And although his office is working hard to fight these crimes, Massachusetts as a whole scored an F in the 2022 Shared Hope International report cards. These report cards provide an in-depth analysis of current state laws and include recommendations to strengthen them. In their report, they say Massachusetts lacks policies in multiple areas, including accountability for trafficking criminals, identifying and responding to victims, and prevention and training for law enforcement agencies. Reporting for Western Mass News, I'm Paris Dunford.